You hear the scream before you understand it. The train is already moving fast. Metal shakes beneath your feet. The windows blur with darkness outside. The doors are limited. The aisles are narrow. The passengers are trapped inside a speeding machine with nowhere real to run. That is what makes a moving train one of the worst places for a zombie outbreak. Every carriage becomes a trap. Panic spreads as fast as the infection. One bad moment turns into 10. One infected passenger turns into a wall of fear. And now, your only goal is simple: survive long enough to make a decision. It starts in the worst way possible. Not with certainty, not with warning. Just a scream. At first, people freeze. Heads turn. Some stand. Some laugh nervously, some try to see over the seats. Nobody fully understands what is happening until one passenger lunges at another, and suddenly, confusion becomes horror. Then, everything collapses. Someone falls into the aisle, another person shoves past you, bags hit the floor, a child cries. Two strangers push in opposite directions. The infected passenger attacks again. Now the panic is doing almost as much damage as the bite. That is why the first outbreak inside a train is so deadly. There is no room to spread out, no safe distance, no clean line of escape. People block each other before the zombies ever can. Fear fills the carriage faster than logic. In a place this crowded, one infected person can destroy the entire carriage in seconds, and the train itself makes it worse. A moving train is not just dangerous because of the infected, it is dangerous because of the shape of the space around you. The aisles are narrow, the seats trap movement, the doors between carriages can jam, lock, or choke with terrified people trying to force their way through. The exits are limited. The windows may show freedom, but at this speed, they are not a real escape. There is nowhere to truly hide. Every compartment can trap you between two nightmares: infected ahead, infected behind. One wrong turn, one blocked door, one stumble in the aisle, and you lose the seconds you needed to stay alive. So your first survival priority is not fighting, it is control. You force yourself to stay calm while everyone else breaks apart. You move away from the center of the panic. You do not let yourself get crushed in the aisle, where fear turns people into obstacles. You create distance from the first infected area. And as you move, you search. Not for perfect weapons, for useful ones. A heavy bag, a belt, a fire extinguisher mounted near the door, a metal thermos, a broken luggage handle. Anything solid enough to strike, shove, or create space. In a train outbreak, survival doesn't belong to the strongest person in the carriage. It belongs to the one who thinks faster than everyone else. Then comes the next challenge: moving through the train. That sounds simple until you try it. One carriage looks half empty, but the silence feels wrong. The next is full of frightened passengers, jammed shoulder to shoulder near the door, refusing to move. Another has bodies in the aisle and an infected figure rising between the seats. Every compartment feels different. Every doorway feels like a gamble, and the train makes every transition dangerous. You cannot see clearly around corners. Seats block your view. Sudden movement appears too close. Noise echoes down the metal corridor and pulls attention toward you. One scream in the next carriage tells you trouble is near, but not where. One door opens and the whole situation changes. Forward movement becomes survival in itself. But the infected are not your only problem. The living are changing too. Panic strips people down to instinct. Someone shoves past an elderly passenger to reach the next carriage first. A man blocks the doorway because he thinks keeping others out will save him. Two strangers fight over a fire extinguisher. Another person refuses to help someone off the floor because fear has convinced them that every second spent helping is a second closer to death. That is the ugly truth of disaster in a crowded train. Human fear spreads faster than logic. Desperate passengers can become almost as dangerous as the infected, not because they want to kill you, but because panic makes them blind, selfish, and violent. In a packed metal carriage, one terrified person can block the only path that keeps everyone else alive. And through all of this, one problem remains above all others. The train is still moving. Even if you avoid the infected for now, even if you find a defensible carriage, even if you get your hands on a weapon and buy yourself a few minutes, the train keeps carrying you forward. That changes everything. Jumping off is its own kind of suicide. The speed, the tracks, the rocks, the darkness outside. One bad landing and you are dead before the infected ever reach you. But waiting too long is just as dangerous. Every minute gives the outbreak more time to spread into the next carriage and the next until the whole train becomes a tunnel of death. That is the real horror. You are not just trapped with zombies, you are trapped in motion with no safe exit. For a while, temporary survival may still be possible. You could seal one carriage, use doors as barriers, wedge luggage against narrow entrances, gather tools, stay quiet, hold a small defensive space. But only for a while, because temporary safety is not escape. The infected keep spreading. Bitten passengers may turn beside you. Barriers may fail. Screams in the next carriage may become pounding at your door. And the train may not stop before your safe space disappears. Sooner or later, you are forced into the final choice. Fight your way toward the engine or try to get off before the outbreak consumes every carriage. Neither option is clean. Reaching the engine means moving deeper into danger. More compartments, more panic, more infected, and the constant risk that the path ahead is already lost. But if you can stop the train, you create a real chance to survive. Escaping earlier means trusting the unknown outside. Maybe the train slows enough. Maybe there is a station ahead. Maybe you jump and live. Maybe you do not. That is what survival becomes now. Not choosing safety, choosing the danger you think you can live through. Because a moving train during a zombie outbreak destroys almost every normal survival advantage. There is no open ground, no easy retreat, no time to recover from mistakes. The walls close in, the exits shrink, and every carriage behind you feels like a countdown. In the end, survival is not about killing every zombie on the train. It's about getting off alive before the last carriage becomes your grave. So tell me this, would you fight your way toward the engine or risk escaping into the unknown before the train turns into a coffin on rails?